some business stories of what's coming.
This week went ahead and I had two interesting conversations. One of my friends, she was telling me about a stock that she had purchased. And she said, oh, I'm just trying to get my feet wet and so forth. So I said, oh, which stock is that? And she's like, oh, I got into AMC. I said, you're going to get your feet wet with AMC? And she's like, yeah, why? You know, people are making money off of that. I was like, that's a meme stock. And she was like, what's that? So I thought that it would be pretty interesting just to talk a little bit about a meme stock. The other thing that we'll be talking about today is essentially what's the difference between active income and passive income. You always hear people say, oh, I want to go ahead and have this passive income and those type of things. And really, what does it mean to have active income versus passive income? So that's really what we're going to get into today. So let us just head over to here. Let me share my screen first. That would be helpful. Okay, so today we're going to be covering meme stocks and passive versus active income. Okay, the first thing is what are meme stocks, right? It's to figure out what works best for you. You hear about this meme stock and those type of things, but what really is it, right? Especially in the news, if you follow CNN, Bloomberg, any of those, you hear the term meme stocks all the time, but not many people actually break down what is a meme stock. And so I decided I was going to break it down a little bit today. So meme stocks, they're really driven by Reddit. And many of you guys who don't know, Reddit is essentially almost a news group. It's a forum, and it's been around for ages. And what it does, it connects people of like mind, but don't think of it like a Facebook or even a Twitter. This is like a news group. It's closer to a news group. And for years, people used to push their YouTube videos in there and those type of things. But because of the meme stocks, Reddit has really been pushed to the forefront because it is through Reddit that the meme stock was born. So that's what Reddit is. You'll see a lot of it. You'll see a lot of Reddit at the bottom of news articles and those things to share on Reddit. So Reddit is just another form like a news group that people follow. Now, what did Reddit start? Reddit went ahead and Reddit influenced the market in a way that people have never seen before. I call it the GameStop experiment. Now, what it says is that the GameStop experiment is where the retail traders, which is you and I, where the retail investors essentially took on the big boys, took on big Wall Street, took on the hedge fund managers, and really handed it to them pretty good. Even today, they're still handing it to them pretty good. And I chose this picture because this picture pretty much tells it, where it's the little girl taking on the bulls of Wall Street. And the first stock that they really did it with was GameStop. Now, why did they do GameStop? GameStop during the COVID had shut down a lot of their brick and mortar stores. They had no real online presence. And so many of the hedge fund managers had done what is called a short sell. Now, I'll talk about that in later series, but a short sell is essentially a bet that the stock is going to go down. Now, a lot of these guys, they were gamers and they were like, they don't want to see somebody bet against GameStop. GameStop must live on. And they just put out to the community, let's go ahead and save GameStop, go and buy GameStop's shares. and GameStop shares flew through the roof. It made all types of media, and it had cost the hedge fund managers millions of dollars because it essentially blew their bets right out of the water. I think GameStop moved from being like $50 per share to being like almost to being like upwards of $150 per share at its peak. And so everyone really went ahead and coined it the meme share. So GameStop was really what started it. There are other stocks that they do it with. BlackBerry, they did it with. AMC, they're currently doing it with. And the news had just revealed that there are two other. One is a renewable energy company that they're also doing it with. So they're moving around, but GameStop was really the genesis. So with the creation of the meme stock, one, they influence the retail traders to go ahead and buy these stocks that the Wall Street has bet against. That's their entire premise. They look for stocks that Wall Street is betting is going to go down, and then they in turn pump in a lot of money into the buying to knock out those short sales, to knock out those bets that it's going to go down. The other thing is that with the meme stock, it showed that the retail trader had power. You know, before, every time you mention about investing, it was all about the big boys. What do the big boys want? What are the big boys going to do? With the creation of meme stocks, this is now showing that the little people like you and me can get in there and can really influence the market in ways that they've never seen before. You know, it goes against what they call the fundamentals and technical analysis. And I mean, when we go ahead and get to analyzing stocks and analyzing charts, you'll see what I'm talking about. But for the most part, when you're investing, that's what you follow. You follow a company's fundamentals, you follow the technical analysis based off of the charts, and that's what you use to determine whether or not you should invest. Well, what the meme traders have done is essentially said, none of that is needed. We are just going to buy and we're going to pump up these things. GameStop now has actually been able to change CEOs, and they've really capitalized on this new money because they never saw it coming. Because when they looked at even the valuation of their business, it didn't warrant such high stock prices. But the retail trader really went ahead and just pushed it through the roof. AMC is currently doing the same thing, where you're seeing huge spikes in AMC almost on a daily basis. And that's really just driven by the retail traders just pumping a lot of money into it. Now, what does all that do? Well, they're essentially pushing against the grain. Like the wall is the fundamentals and the technical analysis. That's the wall. What they're doing is trying to hit the wall with a sledgehammer. And so with the stocks that they've decided that they're going to essentially turn into meme stocks and they're going to flood, it makes that stock extremely volatile, because you're talking about a stock that was set to go down, that they're artificially propping up to these extreme heights. And so if you go in early, you're saying, yay. But if you don't know that you've gone into a stock that's a meme stock and think that it's a stock that you're going to go ahead and say, this is good value, I'm going to ride it out, you could be up for a rude awakening, because when they do burst and come down, they're not going to go back up to those heights. So if you went into GameStop when GameStop was about $30 per share, good. You go into GameStop when GameStop is $150 per share, bad. And that is where it really creates this volatility. No. So before we move on to the other things, let me recap just on that one thing. With meme stocks is essentially where retail traders are going against the grain and buying stocks that are set to be short sold by hedge fund managers. Mostly it's hedge fund managers. Now, in the beginning, it created such a frenzy. It created such a frenzy because nobody knew what was going on. How was this really going to transpire in the market? Many fund managers had to go ahead and reevaluate their portfolios that they had for clients to make sure that none of these meme stocks were in those portfolios. Many investors started to wonder if they should pull out of the stock market altogether. So it came with a lot of good, but the lot of good really were for those that started the meme trade. You know, they do the same thing with cryptocurrency, and they do it a lot more often with cryptocurrency because you don't have so much of the SEC regulations and all of the different regulators. So they'll come in, and what they'll do is that they'll flood it with a buy, push up the price. And so when you look at these charts, you see it fly all the way up, and then you see it hit a big peak and then fall all the way down. Because they're the ones driving, they know when to come out. It is very similar to what was the one that was out here in Jamaica? Cash Plus, yes, right? So a lot of people get into Cash Plus. Cash Plus is looking really good. Those who came in real early made a killing. Those who came in late lost a lot. Some lost everything. It's the same situation with this. So if you're going to go ahead and play the meme stock role, I wish you the best of luck. I'm staying clear from anything that the moment that I see it do a huge spike and there's no news behind it, there's no change in the valuation of the company, there's nothing going on with the company, but the stock price just starts to fly. That is a stock that I am staying away from. But if you are ready for the ride, you can go ahead and do that, right? All right. So now we're on to passive versus active income, right? How is it that you would like to make your money? Would you like to be making your money doing passive income, active income? Most people strive for a combination of passive and active. Now, a little thing to note, many of the billionaires that you see, most of their money is not in their active income. So the other day I realized that even Bill Gates, most of his money isn't even made with Microsoft. Most of his money is in passive income, in investments in real estate, purchase of land, and those type of things. So, I mean, it caught me by surprise. I don't know if you guys already knew this, but I didn't know that. And so one of the things is you want to strive for that mix, you know, not everything being active, but not everything being passive, right? So all investments, right, no matter what the investment is, you can earn money in an active way or a passive way, right? To give an example, you have, when you look at Bezos, Bezos says, oh, I am no longer CEO. I'm going to go ahead and be executive chairman, which later on, he's probably going to end up being non-executive chairman. What has he done? He's shifting from an active income into a passive income. He's always going to collect income from his share in Amazon, but the day-to-day is something that he's not going to have to deal with. So he's shifting from active. But if you notice, as he's shifting from active being CEO of Amazon, you're hearing him more with Blue Origins, right? So he's totally not taking active out of the picture. As one becomes passive, he takes on a new active. And so that is how you keep the rotation going. So what is passive income, right? Passive income is income which is generated without you taking on a day-to-day role in its generation, right? What are some of the examples? Rental income. You're not dealing with the house on a day-to-day, but you're collecting that rent check each month. Royalties. DJ singers, artists, writers, all of them collect royalties. Now, it is for the sale or the use of a product, but they're no longer in the day-to-day, right? Then you have dividends. You invest in your stock every quarter, you see a check reach, you didn't do anything real special for that. So that's passive income, right? So there are tons of other things, but the premise here is passive income is that you're not active in the day-to-day happenings of what generates that income. So when you invest in the shares, yes, you invest it, but you're going about your regular day-to-day job and you look at your account and boom, you see a check reach. That's passive income. You purchase a house, fix up the house, you're renting out the house each month, you see that rent check come in, boom, passive income. So that's really what passive income is. So there are many types of passive income. I'm just covering the three main ones. All right, now what is active income? Well, active income is the opposite of passive income. So if passive income was you going ahead and not engaging in the day-to-day happenings of the company or the business or whatever, this is the opposite of that. This is you going to work. When you get up each morning and you're going to work, you're engaged in active income, right? So the salesperson that's out there grinding, going door to door, door to door, door to door, that's active income. The manager that is in the office overseeing the employees and those things, that's active income. The CEO that has to essentially show up each day, making the decisions and those things, that's active income. So active income, you're engaged into the day-to-day activity of what is generating that income. Passive income, you're not engaged in it. So that's really what it is. So anytime you hear people say, oh, this is passive income, active income, that's all it is. Now, everything, in my opinion, whether it's passive or it is active, it starts off as active, right? Let us take, for example, that DJ artist, right? He's now collecting royalties even while he sleeps. So it is now passive income. But first he had to make the song. So that was, and he had to write the song. So that was hours of writing or days of writing, months of writing, studio time, going ahead, getting all of the mixes right, doing all of that. That is active income. He's actively engaged in the day-to-day production of that song. Now, once that song is released, that song now becomes passive income. So once it's released on iTunes, Amazon Music, or whatever, all of the income that comes off of that one song is now passive. He's no longer engaged in that song. But then he's moving on to his next song. So he's back now into active, but he's active on another source of income, right? So a musician or a painter, when you paint, you are active while you're painting. You're in the day-to-day of painting that masterpiece. But then once you put it out, it's in the art gallery and those things. When it's sold, right? Once it's sold, you have ways of, especially with NFTs now, right? NFTs is essentially setting up a whole royalty situation with art, but that's a whole nother topic. But the income that's generated off of those things is passive, right? So when you're first going into any income stream, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to research it. If you're going to go ahead and invest in stocks, you're going to research the stocks. If you're going ahead and taking on a new hobby, you're going to research that hobby. You're going to look at the equipment that you would need to do that hobby. That's the research. That's the work that you're putting in the beginning. The next thing you're going to do is put your plan in action, right? You're going to go ahead and set things into motion. Once you've set things into motion, now you've moved into really the meat of your active income, right? You're really working into the generation. You're going ahead, you're in a music studio, you're doing it, you're doing your 9 to 5, you're doing everything that you need to in order to reach your goal. Now, what are you going to do after you reach your goal? You're going to relax. You're going to set it up in such a way that you now make money while you sleep, right? So you've invested in those stocks. You're looking for the stocks that's going to give you a good mixture of return on equity as well as your dividends. And you're going to go ahead and you can lay in bed sleeping. And when you look, mailman comes, bring you a dividend check. You look at your phone, you just made some more money. But before you did all that, you are very active in it, right? So this is really your overall reward for all of the work that you've put in place, right? So to recap, right? To recap, we covered meme stocks, right? Now, so when you guys go ahead and you're looking at the stock market, especially in the States, you don't really see that in Jamaica, but especially in the States, go ahead and just take a look. Go on any site and look at AMC, look at GameStop, and look at BlackBerry. And when you see these huge spikes, you will see exactly what happens when the retail traders decide to come in and flood the market with money. Now, that had actually created a backlash in regards to some of the stimulus payouts that you guys have been hearing about, because many people were saying if they didn't give stimulus money, then they wouldn't have so much money to just flood the stock markets with, right? So that had really created a lot of things. The other thing is when it comes on to your passive versus your active, you want a mixture, right? You want a mixture. You want, because your end goal is you want to be able to, your active be your passion. That is what you want. You want your active income to be something that you look forward to doing every single day, right? So if you love doing art, if you love photography, if you love music, if you love gardening, you want to be set up in such a way that you're able to take on your love on a day-to-day basis and make that be active while still having income coming in on the passive end, right? So when you go ahead and you're out there and you're working and so forth, always look at your goals. Always, just like what we spoke about last week. What is it that you want? What are the goals that you want? And then work towards achieving those goals, right? And my ex-boss had told me something that to this day I practice. And he essentially said, the day that you don't get up, the day that you get up and you dread going to work, not off of any one-time thing or something, but you literally dread going to work, that's time for you to start looking for a new job, right? Because it is no longer your passion. And when something is no longer your passion, you're not going to give it your 100, right? So that's what I'm going to end it with today, guys, is go ahead, follow your passion, build up some passive income, work on that active income. And don't ask me about which meme stock to get into, because I will not advise anyone to do it. But if you do it, I will be so happy to hear about the gains that you've made. All right. I will go ahead and I will be sharing this video on my YouTube channel, and all of the videos will go up on YouTube channel. So I will send out the link to that channel. I know this sounds cliche, I see it all the time, but go ahead, subscribe, and put on your notifications so that when I do put up the videos, you guys will know exactly when I put it up. All right. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you next week.